From Lou Williams getting backstabbed by the Clippers to Gilbert Arenas' Washington Wizards debacle, these are some athletes who signed the worst contracts ever, starting with Lou Williams' 2018 deal with LA Clippers. Now, we all know the world of the NBA can be pretty high stakes. Every team wants to buy the cream of the crop, and a single bad contract could ruin careers. But some of these deals just leave us wondering, what were they even thinking? Now, as a three-time NBA Sixth Man of the Season, Lou Williams had the season of his career with the Clippers in 2018. Naturally, he signed for an extension. That makes sense, right? But that's not the problem. It's this. The contract was for just $24 million. Now, just how the Clippers pulled off arguably the best bargain in the whole league, we'll never know. But getting one of the most valuable players of the season for just $8 million a year? That's a tragedy. According to reports, if he'd allowed himself to enter free agency, Lou could have gotten a lot more. But what did the man have to say for himself? Apparently, Lou wanted to stay in LA. He loved living there. So no wonder he took the lowball offer. And you have to remember that since this was before Paul George and Kawhi, Lou wasn't thinking of any championships either. But the worst part? The Clippers didn't reciprocate. New additions slashed into his minutes, ending up in him getting traded away, which, after the small contract, was pretty painful to see. And speaking of pain, one has to mention Kyrie Irving's contract with the Boston Celtics. Now, you've heard of how diehard some sports fans can be, and sometimes not even their own team escapes the slander. But have you ever heard of a player flipping off their own fans? Kyrie landed in Boston in 2017 to a hell of applause, just to say his goodbyes after 2 seasons and sign with the Nets alongside Durant. But what exactly went wrong? Despite high hopes, Kyrie had a pretty underwhelming season with the team. His first season with the Celtics ended way ahead of time, as the man was absent for a whole 15 games of the season. I mean, what was the point of the contract? This was just the start, though. At the famous season ticket holder event in TD Garden, Kyrie announced to fans that he planned to re-sign. He even made a whole commercial about it, but with a flimsy 2018-19 season, marked with injuries and beef with the fans. The player stopped loving it in Boston, and hell finally broke loose when the cameras caught him selling Kevin Durant to let him into the Nets. At that point, fans had had enough, and were honestly happy to see him leave for the Nets, even booing him when he took the floor against Boston in 2021. A fan even made sure to let Kyrie know how he felt by straight up smacking him with a water bottle. Now that probably stung, but Kyrie's not the only one who ended up hurt with the new team. So did Carmelo Anthony in his saga of disappointment with the Knicks. Officially one of the 75 best NBA players of all time, Carmelo Anthony has had no shortage of success. But we can all agree that his downfall started with his career-ruining contract with the New York Knicks. Known for his silky, smooth jump shot and his ability to score at sheer will, Anthony averaged about 26 points per game, landing himself in the category of elite scorers, and was traded to the Knicks in 2011. His arrival brought sky-high expectations. Unfortunately, though, reality fell short. Despite Carmelo Anthony's brilliance, the Knicks struggled to find their rhythm on the court, his style of play straight up overshadowing the team's collective success. Things weren't much better off the court either. Reports of internal conflicts and clashes with coaches further complicated his time with the Knicks, as did rumors of beef between players in the locker room, Anthony's questionable treatment of some players, and him straight up driving other players like Jeremy Lin out of the team. Anthony's ego especially became a big point of contention, with fans arguing that it was directly tearing the whole team apart. Needless to say, Anthony's on-court brilliance clashed with internal conflicts, leaving him drowning in mediocrity but creating a hell of a toxic environment for the Knicks, making this contract go down as one of the worst an NBA player has ever signed. But it's not the only story of bad contracts ending up in broken dreams. So is Kevin Durant's time at Oklahoma Thunder. After his transfer to Thunder in 2012, Durant ignited dreams of a new dynasty, along with fellow superstar Russell Westbrook. But things turned sour super quick. Durant's playoff disappointments only mounted as the seasons went on, as the Thunders just kept failing to assemble a championship-caliber supporting cast. And in the summer of 2016, Durant had had enough, calling it quits with Thunder and signing with the Warriors. This move drew some harsh criticism for Durant, who was accused of taking the easy way out with a team that had won 73 games last season, which is, to be honest, a pretty good reflection of his relationship with Thunder. According to reports, Durant had trouble adjusting to the Warriors' culture, not to mention the constant media scrutiny, and reports of frustrated clashes with teammates, which took a pretty heavy toll on Durant's happiness. Understandably, spending years falling short of the league title was enough for him to take his leave, and honestly, good for him. But even this contract falls short compared to one of the worst matches made in NBA history, which of course was the disaster that was Dwight Howard in the Lakers. Howard captured the league's attention with his defensive prowess and sheer athleticism. But as the saying goes, with the great power comes great responsibility. And both Dwight and the Lakers were just about to find out how heavy that responsibility would be. The team signed with Dwight Howard in 2012, hoping to reclaim their championship glory. At the time of signing, the Lakers were in a transition period, and Howard's entry was a big promise for success. But what followed was an agonizing descent into chaos and controversy. Howard's tenure with the Lakers was plagued with clashes, and he did not discriminate between teammates and coaches. The Lakers were already having a nightmare 2012 to 2013 season, but Howard's inability to fit in with the team only added fuel to the fire. Combined with lackluster performances, Howard's questionable attitude wasn't helping anyone, and he became the target of massive criticism after signing what was supposed to be the dream contract. Not only that, Howard had a pretty tough relationship with teammate Black Mamba. Reports of clashes and power struggles between the two men became the media's favorite topic, and both players did not hold back in letting everyone know how they felt. Worst of all, the toxic environment crept up on the rest of the team, who ended the season on a disastrous note. Dwight Howard's first stint with the Lakers was clearly nothing less than a mess, especially when you realize that it was just one season. But when it comes to messy contracts, Gilbert Arenas' Washington Wizards debacle takes the cake. With his fearless mentality and scoring prowess, Arenas landed himself in the category of NBA's premier guards. But little did he know, his career was about to take a devastating turn when he signed a massive contract extension with the Washington Wizards in 2008. Hungry for success, the Wizards pinned their hopes on Arenas, aiming to build a title contender around his dynamic playing style. Fate had different plans though. Off-court controversies would not only soon rock Arenas' world, but send shockwaves through the entire franchise. To make matters worse, injuries began to plague Arenas, robbing him of his explosiveness and limiting his effectiveness on the court. As his physical abilities waned, so did his impact on the game. In short, the contract that was supposed to propel the Wizards forward became an albatross hanging around their neck. Moreover, with reports of clashes with teammates and a deteriorating repo with the front office, Arenas and the Washington Wizards organization grew increasingly toxic, leaving a fractured environment behind that crippled both the player and the team. The tension came to a head in December 2009, though, in the form of a locker room incident between Arenas and teammate Javaris Crittenton. Reportedly, Arenas entered the Wizards' locker room with 4 unloaded guns, wanting to confront Crittenton after a card game went wrong. Crittenton then pulled out his own firearm, engaging his teammate in a dangerous showdown. Thankfully, neither of the players was hurt, but the incident sent ripples throughout the world of basketball, tarnishing Arenas' once-beloved image and earning both players a well-deserved suspension. The dark cloud of controversy moved from Arenas to the whole Wizards team, staining their reputation and casting doubt on the future of the franchise. Needless to say, the fallout from the failed contract left the Wizards unable to bag new players for a disastrous period, leaving behind the mess of a lifetime after one story of misplaced faith. And so, from Gilbert Arenas' Washington Wizards debacle to Lou Williams getting backstabbed by the Clippers, these were some athletes who signed the worst contracts ever.